The beautiful city of Jerez de la Frontera in southern Spain rumbles to the sound of motorcycles once more for the first ever meeting of the World GP Bike Legends, featuring more world champions and more world titles than any other motorsport event in history. World GP Bike Legends was an unmissable opportunity to watch and meet some of the legends from the golden era of Grand Prix racing. Yes, the iconic sound of brutal two-strokes screaming around one of the world's greatest circuits reawakened some of the emotions and the rivalries amid some of the greatest names ever seen in motorcycle racing. But what is the World GP Bike Legends? Well, it's a spectacular three-day festival offering those bike racing fans who reminisce about the past a unique opportunity not only to see the incredible machines back out on track together and racing flat out, but also to get up close and personal with their Grand Prix motorcycle idols. And that's because at the World GP Bike Legends there's an open paddock policy where the whole family can come in and meet some of the legends from the past. Topping off, there's music, concerts, fan zones and a real festival atmosphere. So this is what those lucky fans who are in Jerez got on Friday. Practice sessions and a first chance for the legends to get out on their old machinery. On Saturday, qualifying sessions and the first ever 500cc World GP Bike Legends race. Other action as well, including 250cc's, 125cc's and the International Classic GP Series 2. Then on Sunday, two more 500cc races to make it a fully action-packed weekend in Andalusia. Playing host to the racing this weekend is the famous circuit of Jerez de la Frontera, a legendary venue in itself. Only Assen in Holland has a longer unbroken run of hosting Grand Prix racing, and it's done so since 1987. There's a mix of fast and slow corners, a real test for the riders and their bikes. And as if by magic, the first ever winner at this track in 500cc Grand Prix racing was the 1987 500cc world champion Wayne Gardner, one of the driving forces behind the inaugural World GP Bike Legends, and alongside the CEO of Goose Communications, Nick Wigley, one of the men who's made this weekend happen.
I was at Goodwood Revival, Wayne was at Goodwood, and we had a conversation. I said, I'd really love to do a bike meeting. And he said, oh, tell me about what your idea is. And I said, well, you know, like classic historic racing. He said, well, why don't you have legend riders doing all the riding? Thought, that's brilliant. Nobody's ever done that before. So that's how the idea came about. It was actually a very not inspiring idea of mine, but a much more inspiring idea from Wayne.
It's fantastic. I've been there from the very beginning. Nick asked me to go and contact all the riders and find all the machinery, and I scratched my head and went, how am I going to do that? But may I say, I've really enjoyed the journey of contacting all the riders around the world, because you get to catch up with them, you get to sort of renew relationships, and then the enemies that were your enemies before, and now you're really good friends.
Yeah, it's just so exciting to have all these names here. Now, I've never met any of these people, and without Wayne, we would never have been able to reach them, because you just can't. So for me, it's fantastic, because we have, well, as you know, we've really got a fantastic room full of legends, and they're all going to be out on bikes tomorrow. Well, we're hoping it's going to be successful. The idea is, I think, a good idea. People want it. There is so much awareness of the event, far more than we've ever achieved with anything else. So I'm thinking it should be successful. They all want to do it, and they love the idea of doing it internationally or World Series. So I'm thinking maybe, yeah, it'll work.
And the fans will enjoy it, because you will be racing. There's going to be a race on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, a race, but like we're all a little bit older now, so we'll see what the pace is going to be. I hope it's not too fast, may I say. But yeah, no, we'll be out trying. The trouble is, we're all racers, and the red mist comes up, and we out and do our best, and we're going to fight hard for it all. But there's a lot of unsettled scores, but there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of friendship as well. So, yeah, we'll do it respectively, but we'll try hard. But we're here to entertain the crowd. We're here to make some great TV, and we're here to have a lot of fun and then party in the night with all the rock and roll music.
Nick is keen to point out, though, these are the original two-stroke bikes from the golden era.
Because people are really precious over these bikes, and we're very lucky that some of the owners have just very kindly lent us the bikes. So the Legend's going to be not necessarily reunited with their own specific bike, but they are all proper bikes from the period. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Well, Jerez is pretty special to me because I was the first ever Grand Prix winner here back in, so I was told the other day, 87, sorry. Look, I love the circuit for a start. It's a pleasure to be down here and to be riding with all these my heroes, as well as, you know, the past and the present. So, and to ride a 500, there's nothing beats a 500. That feeling of acceleration and aggressive power and the wheel standing and the wheel spin and so on. So, to ride a 500, it's the best thing you can ever do in life, you know, and it's a pleasure to be able to go and ride with such legends on these special bikes.
The venue of Jerez is also a special part of the whole weekend. So just who are the riders taking part this weekend? Well, we've seen one of them already. Wayne Gardner, the 1987 500cc World Champion. Kevin Schwantz, the 1993 500cc World Champion, famous for his time at Suzuki and his battles with the likes of Wayne Rainey. Freddie Spencer, a three-time world champion in 500cc and 250cc, whose season in 1985 where he won both 500s and 250 will almost certainly never be repeated again. The oldest legend out there this weekend is Phil Reed, the British seven-time world champion across the classes of 500s, 250s and in 125s. Spain's most famous racing son, Angel Nieto, 12+1 times world champion in 125s and in 50cc. French rider Christian Saron, the 1984 250cc world champion, and another famous Spaniard, Jorge Martinez Aspar, a four-time world champion in 125s and 80cc. These are just some of the names to take part. Others include Didier de Radigas, Graham Crosby, Steve Parrish, Carlos Lovato, a double world champion in the 250cc class, a multiple GP winner in Tadayuki Okada, Manuel Champioreros, the 80cc world champion from 1989, a former MotoGP rider in Jose Luis Cardoso, and the likes of Niki Schmassman, a former 500cc rider. A real roster of legends from the golden era of motorcycle racing. So before the weekend got underway for the riders, a welcome party for those taking part, a chance to sample some of Jerez's local brews perhaps. Graham Crosby talking to Gary Lingham, another rider, former 500cc rider to take part this weekend. Christian Saron and Freddie Spencer, rivals back in the day, with Hubert Regal, who's brought some of his collection down this weekend. Phil Reed, who also entertained the crowds. Champioreros and Carlos Lovato, always having fun, as is Angel Nieto, a hellraiser back in the day. A very popular rider alongside Jose Luis Cardoso. Didier de Radigas, he still looks fit enough to be out there riding, as does Kevin Schwantz, who of course was forced to retire through injury. Quick welcome word from Wayne Gardner to all the riders taking part this weekend, and then the presentation of medals. A small token of appreciation of having taken part in the first ever World GP Bike Legends. So we know there are some special riders on show here at Jerez, but also some very special pieces of kit too. They were described as the most extreme, untamable and exhilarating racing motorcycles ever to take to the track. But the 500cc two-strokes are the bikes which dominated motorcycle racing for almost 3 decades. In the 1970s, two-stroke 500s appeared and they soon became the undisputed kings of two-wheeled motorsport. There was unbelievable power, they were incredibly lightweight and notoriously difficult to ride. And some of those bikes are out in Jerez. The earliest of those, a 1976 Suzuki Mark I RG of Phil Reed. The shrieking sound of this bike down the straight has to be seen to be believed. The yellow and black Yamaha YZR 500 OW48R that Kenny Roberts took to 3 world championships at the end of the 70s and into the 80s is also out in Jerez. And what about Kevin Schwantz's world championship winning Suzuki XR84 RGV 500? There's also the Kajiva V589, the likes of Eddie Lawson took to Grand Prix victory. Also on show is a beautiful Kawasaki KR500, ridden in its heyday by Cork Ballington. But it's down to the magnificent collectors from across the globe who have generously allowed their bikes to see the light of day once more, so we can hear the screams of those incredible 500cc engines in race mode yet again, and enjoy the famous scent of two-stroke oil hanging in the Jerez air. So before the riders go out in full race mode, a chance to practice and get used to their bikes they will be racing here at Jerez. Wayne Gardner making his first laps on board the Cajiva. Of course, he was better known as a rider with the Honda NSR 500. Kevin Schwantz, he'll be very familiar with his old Suzuki RGV 500. But it's a very different thing to be riding it around a racetrack rather than parading, as a lot of these riders have been doing over recent years. There's Freddie Spencer. He's got the Honda leathers on, but he's actually riding a Yamaha YZR 500. Don't forget, he came back to ride a Yamaha later on in his 500cc career. Graham Crosby, former TT winner, of course. He's riding a Suzuki XR34 RG500 here this weekend. That is his original bike, so a bit of work that actually the New Zealand rider is putting in himself on the machine. Now, practice was a good chance for the riders to get out and get familiar with the track again, but it also served as qualifying for the racing this weekend, and this is how they will line up for the Race of Legends in 500cc. Freddie Spencer, quickest in practice, starting from pole position. Kevin Schwantz alongside him on the front row, with Wayne Gardner rounding out at that front row. Christian Serron heads up row 2 with Didier Rodriguez and Steve Parrish. Graham Crosby heads up row 3 alongside Phil Reed and Jose Luis Cardoso. Before the riders could get out on the racetrack for the race itself, a time, of course, for the obligatory press conference, the world's media having made their way down to Jerez, and they all wanted a piece of the legends. Not only that, they probably also wanted a piece of cake. Kevin Schwantz celebrating his birthday the day before the event started, and it had to be. From Nick Wigley, the CEO of Goose, bringing him a cake to celebrate his birthday. The candles say 34, but he can't fool us. Kevin Schwantz, 51, the day before the World GP Bike Legends event. The question was, would there be more celebrations throughout the weekend for the Texan? We've heard from the organisers of the event, but what about the legends themselves? The riders out on track at World GP Bike Legends are some of the biggest names motorcycle sport has ever had. What was their take on getting back to racing action?
The important thing about this event is not so much about us going back and just riding 500s, but it's a part of Grand Prix racing history, and you know, there's a lot of interest in that from people really of all generations, and so to have an event like this that you can come have a good time, a lot of access, to be able to see some bikes that in the modern era kind of was the beginning of leading to what we're at today, and so it's great to be a part of it. I think it's such a great thing to do and get involved with, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Es un programa aquí el fin de semana en Jerez con las leyendas, ¿no? De que somos ya todos, somos leyenda de los años 70, 80, 90. Bueno, pues me ha hecho mucha ilusión ver a Spencer, ver a Garner, ver a gente que yo he admirado a lo largo de mi carrera deportiva, ¿no? Phil Reed, gente con mucho nombre, gente que ha hecho cosas muy importantes para la moto y por el motociclismo, ¿no? Y verlos ahora subidos aquí en una moto, bueno, pues me ha hecho mucha ilusión, ¿no?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is an incredible meeting. You know, have done a fantastic job here to promote it and to give us the facilities and arrange the bikes, and I mean, it's brilliant. I just hope they can progress onto other events which have got a bit stale. But it's fantastic to see the public mixing with us, you know, and having, you know, able to have pictures and conversations with them, where in the Grand Prix they're isolated.
Well, it's a tough call, this one. You know, the last time I raced actual Grand Prix bikes was back in 1982 on the same bike. So, you know, both the bike and myself have kind of aged 35, 40 odd years, you know. So it's a bit of a little apprehension, I think, is kind of settling in, you know, because it's all well and good to get all the riders together, you know, over a 20-year period, you know, from the 1980s through to the year 2000, but to try and collect the bikes and to still have them actually still running at their peak is no mean task at all.
Yeah, it's very nice to be here with my ex-colleagues, and I think it's the crowd, the public asked for that, and we're very lucky that there is an organizer, crazy organizer maybe, who decided to put that together. And since the very beginning, they asked me if I'm ready to play the game, and I say yeah, because I think I have to. I've been very fortunate to make the career I've done, and so I need to give back. I will never give back enough from what I receive from MotoGP.
I think a lot of the events I do aren't these bikes. You get the odd parade where you get one or two, but to get a collection of, I'm hazarding 15 to 20 motorcycles from this era is very, very special to see them being used the way they should have been used, and also gathering the amount of people they've got here, i.e. great world champions, Wayne Gardner, Freddie Spencer, Kevin Schwantz, Graham Crosby, it just goes on and on, Phil Reed. So to get all those people in one place at an event like this is great, and also having the garage doors open where the public can come in, they can meet the riders. They probably don't recognise us because we're all 40 years older and looking grey and haggard, but nevertheless a lot of the spectators that come to motorcycle racing are of our era, I'm afraid to say. You know, there's a lot of 50-year-olds out there watching bike racing, and it was what they grew up with. So yeah, it's really, really good.
We sit around and tell stories for a little while and kind of go off into our own corners and do our own things, but you know, it's good, always good to see some of the guys that we raced against, and some of the guys, you know, to see Nieto and Phil Reed and guys like that. You know, just lets you know that old racers are still carrying on that tradition. The bike's been a lot of fun to ride. The competition on the track's been pretty friendly. You know, it's been a pretty casual, pretty relaxed, laid-back weekend. Seems like there's lots of fans coming out, so you know, maybe it's a big sign or a good sign of things to come.
Well, now we've heard from some of the main protagonists, it's time to catch them out on track, in action in race 1. Riders preparing themselves to get out on track for the first ever World GP Bike Legends 500cc race. There was Wayne Gardner. He'll start from that front row alongside Freddie Spencer, who's on pole position, and Kevin Schwantz, the 1993 500cc world champion, reunited with his famous number 34 Suzuki RG500. There's Graham Crosby, number 10, making his way out onto the track. Number 11 there, I think that's Michael Neves, the MCN journalist. You can hear the roar of the crowd. Huge cheers as they join up for the grid. So here we go. Freddie Spencer on pole on the right-hand side of your screens. Kevin Schwantz in the middle on number 34. Number 1 on the Cagiva is Wayne Gardner. Just behind you could see number 27 of Didier de Radigues. As we see the red flag being taken away. History in the making for the second time around for some of these riders. As the lights go out in Jerez, away we go. And it's a great start from Kevin Schwantz as he powers up the Jerez straight for the very first time and up to that first corner. Really good start. Steve Parrish, number 6 on board the Suzuki. He comes through into second place, right down through the field. There's Phil Reed, number 2 on that 1976 beautiful sounding Suzuki. Around Sito Pons for the first time. We go on board with Wayne Gardner. That's Niggy Schmassman, number 15, just on the left-hand side of your screens. There is Schwantz out in front. Shows there's still life in the old dog yet as the others round the dry sack corner for the first time. Schwantz takes a look around and the others quickly join on to the rear of the Texan. So it's Gardner up into second place. De Radigues is currently running in third ahead of Schmassman. Around the stadium section for the first time. Back on board, you can see Schwantz on the outside of Gardner. Gardner, is he trying to take over at the front? Big wheelie from Schwantz. Always one to keep the fans happy throughout his career, and he's trying to do so again. You see Freddie Spencer on number 4 just come into view there, but it's Gardner who takes over at the front, up at turn 1 from Schwantz, and then it's Schmassman, followed by Spencer. On board again with Gardner. See a beautiful twin exhaust from the rear of that GP500, the Cagiva. Great bike, wasn't it, back in the day? Randy Mamola famously on board it. Eddie Lawson too, as Schwantz hits the front once more. What a great sight it is to see these 500cc two-strokes yet again on track. Oh, and Spencer goes one way, and around the other side goes Schmassman as well. Christian Saron now making progress. There is number 3 on board the YZR 500, just having a bit of a chat out on track with Gardner as Gardner comes through again on the inside. As Schmassman takes over at the front, it's Kevin Schwantz now in second place. Listen to the sound of those bikes, they power out of turn 2. Now this time just taking it a little bit steady. Of course, these are the original machines from the 70s and 80s. They've had to be looked after. It's very, very hot out there. 35 degrees Celsius, the air temperature. And I can tell you, some of these riders will be feeling the pace. It's Gardner who takes over at the front from Spencer. How many times did we say that back in the day? On board now as Spencer comes to the outside of Gardner, heading into the stadium section. Down the front straight, big wheelie from Didier de Radigues as Serron and Schwantz come close as well. At the front, though, is now Freddie Spencer. He's taking his turn to lead on board the Yamaha YZR 500. Down towards Michelin corner, there's de Radigues, number 27. Serron also comes past Gardner. Really good to see, isn't it? All these legends of the sport out there doing battle once more, putting on a show as well, more than anything, for those fans who've made their way down to Jerez. So Michael Neves has come into the pits. There's actually Jose Luis Cardoso who's making his way out on track on that KR500, once ridden by the great Cork Ballington. Now Schmassman's made a bit of a break for it here. I wonder, in this heat, can these bikes really stand up to that kind of brutal bike? Yeah, you can see Schmassman's just rolling off, making sure, just wanting to make sure these bikes don't overheat. Wayne Gardner through on number 1, ahead of Didier de Radigues now. It's Freddie Spencer as they come down the back straight, down towards Drysack. Also showing his hand, Kevin Schwantz up into second place now. However much it might look like they're taking it easy, they're having to watch the temperature of these bikes all the time. That's the only gauge really they'll have. A rev counter and maybe a temperature gauge on the front of the machines. And with the temperature soaring here, just having to be a little bit careful with them. These are collector's machines, very kindly lent by the likes of Steve Wheatman, Chris Wilson, Hubert Regal as well. All very kindly let their bikes take part here in Jerez this weekend in the first ever running of the 500cc bike legends. On board with Gardner, you see de Radigues one side, Schwantz on the other, Spencer 2, the number 4, Christian Serron in the back of the picture. Phil Reed is still running, he's at the back of the field, as is Steve Parrish and Graham Crosby too, but it's a front group of 6 we've got here. The more modern bikes perhaps having the foothold over the rest. The Schwantz now takes over into the famous Dakardos corner. We've seen Decide races so many times over the years. Who remembers that Mick Doohan and Alex Crivier battle here? They thought the race was done a lap early. There were fans on the track. Now this is the last lap as they come up the straight for the final time. Schwantz leading, de Radigues second, Schmassman in third. Who's going to take victory in this inaugural 500cc race here at Jerez? Schwantz on the inside through Cito Pons corner. They go over the crest and down that back straight. On the braking, de Radigues thought I'd go through on the inside of Schwantz, but he wasn't to be, and now Gardner, he sees his opportunity around the outside of Schwantz up towards the final corner for the very last time. Who's going to take the first win in the World GP Bike Legends? It's going to be, will it be Schwantz on the outside? It's Gardner on the inside. That 2-stroke fumes coming out of the back of Schwantz's bike. Down the straight they come. Is it going to be Gardner or Schwantz? It is Wayne Gardner from Didier de Radigues, and then Kevin Schwantz coming in third. Christian Serron takes 4th place ahead of Schmassman and Freddie Spencer in there as well. But delight for Wayne Gardner. Well, he is the man who's helped put this all together, rounded up the riders and their bikes, and he's going to stand on top of the podium. The first ever winner of a 500cc race at World GP Bike Legends. And look at that, the podium in the middle of the paddock. All the fans get to enjoy the moment and the champagne as well. Great scenes here at Jerez de la Frontera. Didier de Radigues and Wayne Gardner. Just cheers as Kevin Schwantz as well, as always. He always loves to put on a show for the fans, and that's why they love him so much. Maybe some people needing showers after that. Yeah, bring an umbrella, that's the best way to do it. Kevin, back up here on the podium. It's all a bit of fun, as we know, but do you enjoy that, being out there, seeing all these fans as well?
You know, it was a lot of fun. Anytime you get to ride a 500cc two-stroke Grand Prix bike around a facility like this, you got to be having fun. There's a big smile under, I hope there was, under everybody's helmets, because I know there was under mine.
Didier, congratulations up here on the podium once more. What's the best bit about that race, though, today?
Well, it was very nice to be all together with Wayne, Kevin, Freddie, Saron, who are not here in the podium today, but I'm sure they're going to be tomorrow. You know, it's very nice to be together again on a racetrack. We know each other very well. I know Kevin breaks very late, and we know it's going to happen. It's a good feeling, but the better feeling is the crowd. The crowd is fantastic. They love it. They know us everything. Maybe they know how many bones are broke, and it's very nice to have this communion between us, and also with our bikes. Those bikes are just great. It's very light, accelerates incredibly well, and brakes very well. So it's really a pleasure. It's tiring. I'm not young anymore, that's for sure, but the pleasure is the same.
Wayne, what was hotter there, you or the bike?
Well, I'm not sure, but my temperature on my bike was pretty high. I was actually watching it every lap. It was off the clock, and I was just kind of lap by lap by lap, just waiting, and I had my fingers on the clutch just in case, and every time I started to push a bit harder, it'd climb again, and then it'd come back, and so I'm just happy to have made it. The bike was really good, and I've only done 2 laps in practice, so surprisingly, the bike handled really well and everything else worked perfectly, except the temperature was rather hot. But may I say, it's extremely hot conditions out there. I mean, we're all drenched in sweat. But you know what? It's such a good feeling doing that again.
No race weekend festival would be complete without a rock concert to suit, and World GP Bike Legends is no different on that front. Even though the bikes are done for the day, the party will go long into the night. First of all, on the Friday evening, the ZZ Tops and Queen Mania lighting up the Jerez skies, before James Toseland, the double world superbike champion, and his band Toseland warmed up for the main act, the headline event of legendary rocker Bonnie Tyler, who took us all on a roller coaster ride through some of her greatest hits. After all the entertainment of Saturday, there was still loads more to come on the Sunday, with race 2 kicking off the day's action. The riders line up for the second time then. Freddie Spencer once more on pole position, the flags being ready. 6-lap 500cc race, away they go. Look at those plumes of two-stroke smoke coming out of the back of the bikes, and it's actually Steve Parrish, number 6, who comes through on the inside. A really good start from Barry Sheen's former teammate, of course, and he leads them through turn 1 for the first time. Slightly overcast on Sunday morning, and that seemed to be working in Parrish's favour. He leads from Kevin Schwantz. There's Christian Saron, 1984 250cc world champion, but a great 500cc rider in his day too. Just having a look down at his bike, just wondering, all worried about the possibility these bike may seize. One hand hovering over the clutch as they make their way around the track. On board, Kevin Schwantz here now. Now you can see a great shot of the skies from on board that Suzuki. So it's Spencer leading, Saron just in behind. A quick look behind to see where the rest of the field are as they come through the Nieto Peluki corners. Schwantz again on that back wheel. Looks like Cardoso is in there in 3rd position, down that home straight for the first time. Spencer leading from Saron in 2nd. Saron's going to take over the front here on that number 3 YZ R500. Beautiful machine close up as well. Isn't it just great to hear the sounds of those two strokes screaming their way around Jerez? Spencer now leading. Kawasaki coming through on the inside. That's Cardoso there. There is Wayne Gardner, winner of race 1. Taking things a little bit easier on this Sunday morning. As Cardoso takes over at the front from Spencer. There's Christian Saron from Kevin Schwantz. No doubt he'll want a victory over the weekend. Will it be in race 2 as Freddie Spencer hits the front in front of Cardoso. Saron in third. Schwantz, there he is in fourth, the birthday boy. Still very much a racer. Out in the Suzuka 8 Hours last year. He did well, put it on the podium there. Not bad for a 50-year-old. 51 now, of course, though. You just see dropping off the back there, the early leader, Steve Parrish, just dropping away from this front group. As Schwantz takes over at the front. Into turn 1 they go. Schwantz from Spencer with Saron in third. Cardoso, 500cc and MotoGP rider, we mustn't forget. He rode the 4 strokes as well. Saron now through on the inside, through Sito Pond's corner and into the back straight, up and over that crest. Beautiful shot as the riders make their way through. Group of 6 now forming at the front. Schwarzman not having so much to say in this one. He's dropped off just ahead of Steve Parrish. Didier de Radagast, number 27, the Belgian rider. Never won a 500cc Grand Prix. Did stand on the podium though, and won in the 250s too, as well as in 350cc as we watch de Radagast lead them through. Wayne Gardner now coming through a little bit. There is Parrish, number 6, at the back of the group. So he has rejoined them a little bit. Oh, de Radagast loving it, isn't he? On that back wheel, down the home straight. And it comes up the rise towards turn 1. De Radagast from Spencer, then it's Schwantz, then Saron. Going for a little bit more in this race. A bit more confident with the temperatures having dropped a touch overnight. So great to watch fast Freddie Spencer back out on board a 500cc machine. Some will say he's the fastest rider they've ever seen on board a motorcycle. So young when it all happened for Freddie Spencer, of course. Back in his championship winning days, 1983 and 1985. There's a good close-up of the KR500 with Jose Luis Cardoso on board. So Spencer from Schwantz, there's Saron, just in the group. Schwantz again, wheeling his way past. Fans getting a really good look at Schwantz and his 1993 World Championship winning bike. Oh, Gardner coming around the outside, really tight in the final corner there. 6 bikes all wanting a piece of the tarmac as we go on board with Gardner. Just listen to the sound of that Cagiva. Spencer and Schwantz side by side once more. The long right-hander of Sito Pond's corner. Very tricky corner to get right. And then heading into the back straight, down towards the dry sack. That's turn 6 at the Jerez circuit. At the front is still Freddie Spencer. Really wants to get the W today from Kevin Schwantz. Into the final corner once more, and it's Spencer from Schwantz with Saron in third place. Up the home straight they come once more. Schwantz goes past Spencer easily. That Suzuki always had the raw power, didn't it? Whereas the Yamaha, very, very strong in the corners. Great corner speed, as always. There's Cardoso on the Kawasaki, just ahead of Schwarzman. Back on board with Gardner, down the back straight. Just got a shot of the Tio Pepe Tower on the inside as well. Such a legendary venue. Of course, Gardner did win here. That first ever 500cc Grand Prix here in 1987. Schwantz has taken over at the front. Will he be on top of the podium here today? You can hear the fans cheering as Spencer comes through, followed by Schwantz through the stadium section. Riders know they are seeing some real legends out on track. They'll be happy for the clouds that have come overhead. Around the final corner. One more lap to go. Who's going to take victory in the second 500cc race? It's Schwantz now from Spencer, de Radigues. They're all lining up. They all want to taste that podium champagne. Schwantz leads them through into Michelin corner from de Radigues. Is it going to be Schwantz on top of the podium? Around Pons corner. De Radigues lining up behind Schwantz. Schwantz again just wants the showboat and have some fun for the fans. Into the final corner it is. Is it going to be Schwantz or is it going to be Spencer as they power their way? We've seen Schwantz go past before the checkered flag is being waved. Who's it going to be? It looked to me like Spencer, but that one's going to be a photo finish. Schwantz is going to take it through into turn one, but I think it was Freddie Spencer. He's taking the plaudits to the crowd. Spencer celebrating. Well, no doubt Schwantz will want to see the photo finish. Spencer celebrates. Let's have a look at that. I think it was Freddie Spencer just from Kevin Schwantz. Shake of the hand between the two Americans. Confirmation of it then. Freddie Spencer on top of the podium for the second race. The fans all just trying to get over each other to get a photo of those legends on the podium. Didier de Radigues joining the two American legends on the podium too. A great moment for Spencer to stand on top of the podium once more.
Freddie, congratulations, 30 years on from your double world championship, back on top of the podium. Does he still have the same feeling to it?
Well, it does because of everything that's involved, and for us to go out there and ride and to ride these 500s it really is a privilege, especially when you see the fans and the enjoyment they bring. And you know, we started to move out there pretty good, and because, you know, I'm on a bike. It's the first time I rode that 500 this weekend, and great, I mean, it works bike, and I got to thank Yamaha Motor France and for allowing Christian and I to come down and ride and on those bikes, and it's just incredible. And you know, it's like I always say, one of the great things about motorcycling is it brings out that kid in you, right? And it's so much fun. So I got to thank Goose and of course Wayne, who worked with them, and I'd been working with Wayne also in the beginning, and for all the fans, you know, just the enthusiasm and the appreciation that they show. That's inspiring. It is truly inspiring, and you can feel that from them, and it's just been great.
World GP Bike Legends is not just about the legends of 500cc. There was lots more action to keep the festival feeling going throughout the weekend. The Legends 250cc race saw Carlos Cardús and Carlos Levado going head-to-head, but after a breakdown for the Venezuelan double world champ, the Spaniard Cardús was able to comfortably ease his way to the checkered flag and celebrate with the podium champagne, something he quite clearly enjoyed. The 125cc event pitted lots more famous names up against each other, with four-time world champ Jorge Martinez Aspar headlining amongst the legendary names from the junior classes. Of course, Aspar is now a championship-winning team manager in MotoGP, and he kept that theme up, winning through eventually against his compatriots Manuel Championeros and Eri Torrentega. And the racing didn't stop there. Several other support classes too, meaning the two-stroke scream rang around the circuit from dawn till dusk. The International Classic Grand Prix Series, the ICGP, featured 250 and 350cc bikes from 1974 to 1984, with other races for 50s, 80s and a post-1990 125cc challenge, giving the fans their fill of glorious racing for the next few months at least. But it wasn't all just about the action out on track. There was lots more to keep the whole family entertained, with a ton of activities going on inside the open paddock, including meeting the legends face to face in several autograph sessions which had the public queuing up to catch a glimpse of their racing heroes and maybe even sneaking a selfie or two. Narcís Roca's stunt show was particularly impressive. He's the official street bike freestyle rider with BMW Spain, and he wowed the crowds with some of the tricks on his F800R. Summer trial riding exhibitions featuring World Championship riders like Jordi Pesquet and Marcel Justribeau. As well as the world-famous George Formby tribute act by Graham Hardy, who made sure laps were aplenty. Kids got to have their fun too, whilst there were more than enough stalls and stands selling memorabilia and bike paraphernalia for even the most hardcore motorcycle fan. Lots to keep everybody entertained then before the legends got back out onto the track for the final race of the weekend. The riders lining up as the sun comes out then, and Angel Nieto, the 12+1 world champion, he's out there too on board Jorge Martinez Aspar's 125 bike. Yeah, making sure the fans are kept happy. They have their legend in Angel Nieto out there as the lights go out for the final race of the weekend. Nieto, he's going to have some work to do to challenge on board the 125. I'm sure we'll see it, if nothing else, as a parade lap in front of the fans. So there's Schwantz leading into turn one, ahead of Freddie Spencer. Jose Luis Cardoso, he's now got his famous number 30 on board his bike from Steve Parrish, and Graham Crosby just tucked in beside him. There is Kevin Schwantz. Beautiful afternoon for the final race of the day. A look around from Schwantz, and that's enough, all the invitation that Spencer needed as he hits the front. So it's Spencer from Schwantz, then Cardoso. Slight gap back to Steve Parrish on board that beautiful HB Suzuki. Yeah, he had to change bikes. I don't think his older machine could last anymore. Not in these sunny and very hot conditions out there now, as Spencer leads them through. From Schwantz, around the stadium section of Nieto and Peluqui. Lovely section of the circuit. Schwantz just having a quick look around. Spencer is putting a hard pace on at the start of this race. There's the Radigues in fourth spot as they come into the final corner for the first time. Schwantz again at the front of that Suzuki being picked up. Really got some power, hasn't he, on board his championship winning machine. Cardoso in third. The two Americans already been on the podium this weekend, but Schwantz, no doubt, we want that win. There's that classic Schwantz style as he comes around the corner. No elbows down, of course, back in the 500cc days. Still getting the knee down, though, at 51 years of age. Up and over Cito Ponce corner. Lovely section of the track. And a little look around from Schwantz. Back to Spencer. In they come into Nieto corner. The Texan from the Louisiana man. Great accents, haven't they, both, when you hear them off the bike. Really does bring back old times. Into the back section of the circuit now we ride on board with Kevin Schwantz. Focused as always. And again, he's wheeling his way down the straight. Just getting past Spencer. Durrani gets up into third place. Niggy Schmassmann in fourth spot. German former 500cc rider who's actually prepped his own bike to bring it here this weekend. Into Michelin corner once more they come. Schwantz now on the inside. He's going to squeeze through on Spencer. Yeah, I don't think he'll be doing it there. Maybe at the end of the back straight though. On board with Schwantz. Tucked in behind the bubble of his number 34 Suzuki, and he has taken the lead from Spencer. Grouping up once more, Schmassmann comes into it. There's Cardoso, number 30 on the KR 500. Front five now having broken away. The bikes who've really been given a workout this weekend. Starting to take its toll on the field. As they come into the home straight, it's still Spencer on the Yamaha. From Schwantz on the Suzuki, De Radigues on the Suzuki as well. This front four, the podium's going to be between them. Will Schwantz be able to take that win back home with him? On board with Kevin Schwantz once more. Just listen to the sound of the RG 500. Just looking around there, and it's allowed Rodriguez to come through. Now he's up into second place, so the Belgian rider, well, he's been on the podium for a couple of races. Is he going to get the chance to stand on top of the box in front of all those fans who've turned up here in Jerez? Into the final corner. Schwantz once more with Spencer on the inside. Spencer's going to claim it. He's going to lead them across the line. Big wheelie from Schwantz and from Rodriguez, but it's Spencer who's in front, up towards turn 1. There's Schmassman. Bike looks great, doesn't it? Brilliant colours, those German colours. Red, yellow and black. As Spencer still leads things. Back on board with Schwantz. Can hear them hitting the limiter on board their bikes. Rodriguez now up into third place. Is there going to be another podium for the Belgian? In towards the Cardos corner. How many times did we say that during his career? Freddie Spencer coming through as they come into the final straight for the last time. One more lap to go for Kevin Schwantz from Freddie Spencer. It's between these two who is going to take victory here in the final World GP Bike Legends race. And Spencer not making it easy for Schwantz. Hand goes up from Kevin Schwantz because he did force Spencer out a little bit wide. We don't want any injuries in this final race, do we? On board with Schwantz, and Spencer comes around the outside, down towards the dry sack corner, and Spencer takes over at the front, half a lap to go. Who's it going to be? Will it be a double win for Spencer? Will Schwantz get to stand on top of the podium? Surely Schwantz has got something left in reserve. There's Spencer, still holding off his compatriot. Into the final corner now. Schwantz up the inside. Is he going to hang on? We know he's got the power down the straight. Surely it's going to be. Yes, it will be. Schmassman looks like he's going to take third place. But Schwantz is tucked right in now. He takes the checkered flag and takes victory in the third 500cc race at World GP Bike Legends from Freddie Spencer. He goes off track. What's this? It's going to be a bit of a celebration from Schwantz. Yeah, there it is, the American flag for Kevin Schwantz, who remembers that iconic image of Schwantz celebrating victory with the Star-Spangled Banner. Flips it back into gear. Can he get it unfurled? And he does so. Look at that shot. Kevin Schwantz with the Stars and Stripes in his hand. Freddie Spencer's going to join him on the podium with Niggy Schmassman. Cardoso just missing out this time, as does Rodriguez. But up on the foot pegs, Schwantz celebrates in the Jerez sunshine. What a day, what a weekend. Freddie Spencer, thumbs up to the crowds as well. It's been a great weekend, and what a way to top it. With many people's favourite rider of all time, including Valentino Rossi, would always say Kevin Schwantz is his man. Makes everything so exciting on board the bike. Oh, a couple of moments there. But Kevin Schwantz lifts aloft the trophy and takes the laurel wreath. He wins race 3 at the World GP Bike Legends, and look how much the fans love that as he celebrates with Spencer and Schmassman with the podium champagne. I'm not sure how much champagne's in there, but Schwantz making sure every drop covers the crowd.
It's great. They've been here throughout the day. They withstood all the heat. You know, there's a bit of a breeze today, so it's not quite as miserable, but you know, it's hot in these leathers, and I know it's hot standing in the sunshine watching this, but it's great to be here. It's so much fun to ride at 500 again. It's somewhat of a brisk pace. You know, probably wouldn't have won a Grand Prix 20 years ago, but you know, would have qualified for the field, I think. But no, it's been awesome.
Fantastico!
Well, the riders clearly enjoyed the first running of the World GP Bike Legends, but what do the fans think?
Kevin forever.
Sí, las carreras de toda la vida, esta gente míticos, vamos, son leyendas vivientes.
Es mi primera vez que he venido a ver la moto antigua y me ha impresionado. Como son ellos, que son unas personas muy cercanas y es muy bonito.
El ambiente es único, el ambiente de las motos es único.
Hemos disfrutado porque al final nos vamos con lo que queríamos, nuestras fotos y nuestras firmas con Kevin, que es nuestro ídolo.
Estamos aprendiendo un poco más sobre el mundo del motociclismo.
Merece la pena venir para ver esto.
Volvemos el fin de semana que viene si hace falta.
Well, we've had 3 magnificent days in southern Spain, and classic racing fans have enjoyed fantastic action from the biggest collection of racing heroes ever assembled, with well over 300 Grand Prix wins between them. Glory went to Wayne Gardner, Freddie Spencer and Kevin Schwantz, each taking to the top step of the podium in the headline 500cc races. And after the success of this inaugural event, plans are already underway for the next chapter of World GP Bike Legends history. You're going to want to be a part of it. So until then, it's goodbye from Jerez, and we hope to see you next time.